the UFC kind of changed everything for martial arts. And really, I guess you go back to like Vale Tudo in Brazil and NHB in Brazil. But that type of unrestricted fighting advanced martial arts in a decade or two more than it had advanced
ever, almost,
in a very long time. But, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about what you just said. And I actually think that's actually not true a little bit. And here's why. I think it actually brought it back to reality. Because if you went back to ancient Greece and looked at pancreation, right? Yeah. Those guys, and we have images of people doing pancreation.
Omoplatas.
And they're doing omoplatas, they're doing Khmers, they're doing heel hooks, they're doing what we do. And pancreation, if you don't know what it is, it was in the Olympics. And I'm talking the old school Olympics. I'm talking 648 BC is when pancreation was introduced into the Olympics. And it was a combination of wrestling, boxing, kicking, joint locks, chokes. It was, in other words, an ancient version of MMA. But over time, things got separated. The disciplines got separated into boxing over here, wrestling over here, Muay Thai over here, Jiu-Jitsu over here, Judo over here, Taekwondo over here, Karate over here. And I was trying to think about why that happened. And I actually think I have a suspicion, we'll say, a hypothesis.
All right, cool.
My hypothesis is, how people generally only want to do what they're good at?
Yeah.
You're good at bench press? What are we doing for a workout today? We're doing bench press.
Yeah.
Or, you're good at squats? What do you want to do today? Oh, we're going to do squats. Yeah. Oh, you're good at grappling other people. So I'm good at boxing. I don't want Dean Lister grabbing hold of me and taking me to the ground. And so I'm going to make a different thing, something that I'm good at. And that starts to draw in all the people that are good at that thing.
Yeah.
And over time, it seems like you just have these separate things. Now, whether that's the actual reason, I don't know. But everything got separated. And martial arts became siloed, right? Where it's just different sections. And then, unfortunately, martial arts became theoretical. And it didn't take much time for it to go from theory to lies. And I know lies is a strong word, but if you go look at what's the Instagram?
McDojo.
If you go look at McDojo, those are lies. That dude posts. What's his name?
McDojo Life.
McDojo Life. Yeah. So if you go to McDojo Life, you can see people are teaching lies, actual lies to other people. And, the lies are things like, oh, this one strike. Or my chi will prevent me from being taken down. Or I can absorb your strikes with my aura.
Yeah. Jocko, do you think you think it's a form of, I don't want to say hypnosis, but like, what is it you think? Like that kind of, is it like, oh, everyone else is doing it, so I guess I'll do it, I'll play along? Or is it, do they actually?
There's absolutely some kind of psychological,
something going on,
there's a psychological phenomenon that occurs. Isn't he making a movie about this?
Yeah.
To explain
like a
it?
documentary, yeah.
To explain, and I'm sure
I'll be in that movie.
That's awesome. You in it too, Echo Charles?
No.
Okay. So McDojo Life is making a movie about it, but yeah, there's some kind of psychological manipulation that happens where, you point your finger at my sternum and I feel like pain and fall down.
Yeah.
And the reason we know it's a lie is because plenty of people have challenged, like, oh, try that on me.
Yeah.
Mother liquor.
So what's the story about you? You were at, I don't know about the SEAL base, but you were there and some guy's like, you put your finger in the collarbone and you're like, no. And he's like, yeah, it works. And you said, try it on me. And you double-legged him or something like that. What was
No. Well, I had a guy saying that, like, they had a name for this, like, neck strike. And they were like, oh, if this is done, like, if I did this for real, you'd immediately be, like, paralyzed on the right side of your body, and that would cause you to fall down. Yeah. And then that would lead to my next move, which is a heel stomp to the groin or whatever, right? And so I was like, cool, do it to me.
He's like, no.
And the guy's like, well, no, it's, and I was like, do it to me. Just do it. And it obviously didn't work. Like
Yeah.
a karate chop to the neck.
But didn't you take one, like, second one, and the third one you responded? I heard that you retaliated.
I don't even think I retaliated.
The word is that the word. That
No,
was
Jeff
doubling.
Higgs had a guy that said that he couldn't be taken
Pick off
down
the
once he
ground,
settled
yeah.
his chi.
He could root into the ground.
Yeah, he would root into the ground.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, you would not be able to take me down. And Higgs is, what do you mean? And Higgs, if you don't know who he is, he's been on the podcast. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a former SEAL and a good friend of all of ours. But this guy was saying, oh, you can't take me down once I settle my chi. I always remember that's a good quote, right? Once I settle my chi. Because it sounds like it might be a legitimate thing, right? Like, that's not, you just didn't make that up. That's you've told that to other people.
Yep. Chi
And
is
so
settled.
Jeff's like, okay, well, why don't you go ahead and settle that chi? And the guy goes through his little ceremonial thing and, like, gets in the horse stance.
Hell yeah.
And Higgs is like, oh, are you ready? He's like, yeah. And Jeff just, like, double legs and slams him on the
It was
ground.
like my toes were crossed.
Yeah.
She wasn't settled.
So there is when you get to that kind of McDojo stuff, there's definitely some psychological weirdness that's going on. But those lies were spread. And, whether it was you can't strike through my aura, or the dim mock, which is, hey, if I touch you here, you're going to literally die.
You die a few days later.
Which also leads to the, hey, I can't actually do this to you because I don't want to kill you and go to jail for murder. Okay? I would do it to you because you're making me mad, but I don't want to go to jail for murder, so I'm not going to do this, dim mock to you.
Yeah.
And furthermore, you know what? The reason you don't see these moves in competition is because they're not allowed.
Jocko, times as a UFC fighter, I've had guys come to me and go, hey, I saw your fight. You're a good fighter. I'm a street fighter, Joe. And I'm like, okay. But they had to, like, qualify that for some reason to me. I'm like, well, okay, that's cool. It's just kind of funny that someone thinks that maybe I've never been in a real life altercation outside, also like I've had that's why I look special, my face. I've been bit, I've been poked and whatever, anything else you can imagine. But it's like, those things, I would call them targets of opportunity or fighting dirty, but you can't replicate the eye gouge over and over, or everyone's gonna have one eye, So I don't know, I just think it's funny that people think that despite all your training, if it's a street fight, like, you have no chance. I don't know, man, whatever.
Well, if you could do an experiment where you took someone and just trained them in jiu-jitsu and they never got in a street fight, and they went against someone that was a quote street fighter in the street, it's like it doesn't matter. So the training will transfer. Now, look, could you pick up some bad habits where you do something in the street that it takes you an extra 2 seconds to win because you should have done this specific thing? Because you could do that, but that's like the tiniest percentage. If there's someone that's like, that's why I don't train, because I'm ready for the street.